Hey, what's up? Scott Balkum here with Imagination Creation Films, and today we're talking about how to get those fly-through titles in your footage using Premiere and After Effects. Super simple, couple of little tricks. Let's get it.
Something in the air, always something in the air. Inexplicable, I can feel it in the air. Can you feel me?
So just like that little intro, you've probably seen those titles fly through on many different things. Vloggers, films, you name it. Tracking text to your subject in a 3D sense is kind of a bit awesome, and it can really be a dramatic way to get your titles to just be a little bit different than everybody else. It's actually super easy to do in Premiere, but you have to do it in After Effects. But you can do it through Premiere, but you're in After Effects. So basically you're in After Effects, but you're using Premiere. And you know what? Let's just jump right in and get started. Before we jump into this, I would ask that you click that subscription button and go ahead and click that little alert bell next to it. That way you'll know every time I upload a new video or if I go live. And, you kind of want to know. I'm really trying to build this community, and I really do think you'll be a great part of it. And we can kind of interact a little bit more. Also, you can follow me on all the social medias. Just find me at Scott Balkum. So let's jump into it. What we have here is our timeline, and this is the scene that we want to do. You saw this one in the previous clip. And you notice there is a great way for the title to just come swooping through inside that little arch. Yeah. So the one thing you got to point out here is my project is actually a 4K project. I shoot it in Ultra HD, which is 3840 by 2160. When I shot the drone footage, it was in 4096 by 2160. That's important to note because you can't track a camera in After Effects if your footage doesn't match your timeline. It's a little quirk that I had to figure out on my own. But here's how you fix that. So all you need to do is click in here on your actual timeline, and you're going to say nest. And the reason you're going to nest it is quite simple. It will make it a actual 3840 by 2160 timeline, and it's not shrunk or enlarged to fit. So now that we have this nested sequence here, we just need to right-click and choose Replace with After Effects Composition. So we click that, and it launches After Effects for you. Now all you need to do is give it a name here. We're just going to call this Fly Through Smiley. And we'll save it. Once that's in there, it brings up the exact clip on your timeline here. So you can see that here's your clip. It's flying through. That's pretty easy. So how do we track? What we need to do is we need to track all of these little points on the surface of everything. And it used to have to use a bunch of different trackers in After Effects, and they weren't really that good. They worked, but it took a little bit of finagling. Now they have Camera Tracker built in, and it's freaking amazing. So what you want to do is go right over here to the right-hand side, and you'll see Tracker. Click on Tracker. And then you go up here and you see that nothing is selected, mostly because I didn't select my nested sequence. Okay, now that it is selected, I can go up here and I want to track camera. And the reason I want to track camera is the camera itself. This is a drone. It is flying through this arch. So we want to track what the camera itself is seeing, not what's happening on the screen. That's important for 3D space. So here we go. We're going to click Track Camera, and then it's going to kind of do its thing. This takes a little bit, so you could track what's going on here just by going down here and twirling this down, choosing effects. You'll see 3D camera tracker, drop that down, and now you can see that it is zooming through these frames. We're just going to let that go. When it's done, we will come right back. Okay, it is done analyzing. Now it is going to be solving for the camera. And that takes just a little bit longer. It's not too terribly long. Let's just zoom out. And it's done. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure we have the arrow selected. And then you go to your scene. Now what you see here, you see these little targets. What a target means is that it has found 3 points, and it requires 3 in order to do 3-dimensional. So anytime you get 3 points, you can see them pointed right here. There's 1, 2, 3, and you can see the target. And it'll tell you how it is oriented based upon that item. So what I want is right here, right in this area. Let's just find another one. I really think that one's going to work. All right, so right click. Once you have the target, you can see the 3 points that are there. What you're going to do is right click and you're going to choose Create Text and Camera. Once you do that, your text shows up and it's larger than life, and you know it's quite big. We don't want this to be text because text is boring. We want to do something that is never boring, like a emoji. So we will now go in and modify this so that it is correctly oriented to the space. Now to do that, we're going to go down here and we're going to drop down the emoji, which is right here. We're going to go transform. Now you see you have X rotation, Y rotation, Z rotation. You have scale and you have position. Now, I'm going to back out here so you can see what I'm doing, but basically we're going to move it around in space, forward and back, and then we're going to rotate it accordingly. Now, here's how that looks. So we're going to go to the X rotation, and you're going to see these 3 little arrows. These arrows will tell you where it is in space. And if you grab one of the arrows, you can pull it in the direction that the arrows are going. So I have done a rotation. I'm going to do the next rotation. That one, we want to go point it directly at me. Now we're going to do the Z rotation, and we're going to flip it around so that it's nice and flat. Now I'm going to move its position. Now you can move the position just by moving the scroll over here. That gets a little slow. If you hold down the Shift key, it'll accelerate it quite a bit. So we're going to place that right here in the middle, and I'm going to move it over just a little bit. Now let's see where this goes. So we're flying in. Yeah, that's kind of cool, but you can see that it's not actually lined up with the camera here. So I want to mess with this just a little bit more. So let's there we go. So we get it pointed directly at me. Now what I want to do is I want to move it back in space. So we're going to grab the last on there, and we're going to, there we go. Now that should be okay. Now we're going to move our position again, because I want to be able to fly through this. And let's go through. There we go. Okay, so right here at this point is where I want to fly through it. So I'm going to line this up even more accurately with it. And up, away we go. All right. Now, as I go back, it is actually going to track in space right where it saw all those markers everywhere. It's going to use that entire everything to help it calculate where that holds. The more points that you see out there, the better it's going to track, and it looks really amazing. Watch. I mean, here it is. We're flying in, And here comes this little emoji. You notice how it just kind of follows in space. And then we're going to fly right through it. Now, it's not going in real time right now because, I mean, I just don't have enough horsepower, but it's getting pretty close. We're going to fly right through the face. And it flies all the way through. That was the extent of where it had rendered. To add a little depth to that text so that it's not just a single pane of text, what we want to do is extrude that. And there's a fast and simple way on the new versions of After Effects. Let's dive in and show you. So if you notice right down here, the geometry options are grayed out. And the reason they're grayed out is because of our renderer. So if you go up here to the top and you see up in the top right hand corner, your renderer, it's set to Classic 3D, probably. If not, then you may already be there. But we want to drop it. And then we want to change into Cinema 4D. Cinema 4D is awesomer, pretty much awesomer. So let's just go down here and choose OK. Now when we go down to the geometry options, you can see they are now available. So now we can extrude using this little guy right here. So all we need to do is manipulate this, and we can get an extrusion. So let's see that. Looky there, off into space. And you know what? We don't need it to be that terribly big. But check this out. So we can go in. That's so stupid. Now that looks really kind of flat, except when you're flying through it. To fix that, we need to create a light source. And to do that, we're going to go over here. We're just going to right click and we're going to choose New Light. And then over here, we're just going to say Spotlight is fine and the color is fine. And we definitely want it to cast shadows. So click OK. And then magically, we now have a shadow that is cast on there. Now you can affect this light. If we look over here, twirl this down, you can see that there are orientations that you can do. So you can change the orientation of the shadow itself in space. We'll go back here. Now you'll see you have this nice extruded text or title or whatever you want that you fly right on through and out into there. All right, so we're done with the extrusion, but how do we get it back into Premiere? Well, just click Save, no problem. Go back into Premiere, and magically, it's there. That is the best part about this, is that it comes back and it arrives. So all you need to do is then render it in Premiere, and now your scene is in there and it's done. So you can now affect this any way you want. If you want to speed ramp it or anything like that, you can do that. But it's already back in Premiere, it's in your sequence, and I mean, you're done. What better way to do fly-in text than a simple, fast way using Premiere and After Effects? And you know what? It'll just help make your video pop. So as always, please feel free to leave a comment or a question down below. I do try to read and respond to each and every comment, even if it's just to say thank you. Follow me on all the social medias, Twitter, Facebook. You're already here on YouTube. It's Scott Balkum, but all of those, Instagram, Scott Balkum, Vero, Scott Balkum, all of those is Scott Balkum. And you know what? You can send me a friend request on Facebook. I tend to accept all kinds of friends. Just be an interactive friend. Say hello. Tell me what's going on. And I do have a Patreon. Should you wish to support me in that way, I would greatly appreciate it. It's just a pat on Scott's back for doing this work. And, you know, I don't beg for it. I just ask for it. That's it. Just one time on each video. And if you want to support me that way, that's really cool. Thank you. Do click that thumbs up button, and because it just makes me smile every day when you do. And also, don't forget to subscribe. This is a great community. We are building it up, and I want you to be a part of it because this is a group of filmmakers, creatives, inspirational people, anybody who is interested in what I'm doing. I'm interested in what you're doing because we can learn from each other, and I am more than happy to learn something from you and teach you anything that I know. So click that subscribe button, and then right next to it there's a little alert bell. Click that because that'll let you know every time I upload a video, also anytime I'm live streaming, because you really do want to know, right? Yeah, I mean, come on, yeah. All right, so as I always like to leave it, don't let your passions center around your life. Let your life center around your passions.